Hail and well met, citizens! It is I, SentinalhMC, bringing you a new medieval construction. Okay, that's enough of that. Welcome to the farm, everyone. After the massive time sink that was the nuclear plant, I decided to shrink things down with a quick medieval build. So without further ado, allow me to show you around Sentinel Acres. So the first thing you'll notice here is our cows, and we also have pigs, and we also have sheep, all in their little pastures. They all have their little cauldrons, troughs full of water. Down at the end here we have some sugar canes, because you gotta have sugar to make them cakes. And access to a lake if you want to do some fishing. This is the smaller of the two wheat fields. Still got its little scarecrow there. We head over here a bit faster. This is the larger of the two wheat fields. Now I really hope the crows find these guys menacing, because I actually find these scarecrows really adorable. So if we hurry up and run over here, let's talk about this wall. Now, I didn't alter the terrain with this build. That was one of the things I wanted to keep legit. I didn't want to mess up the topography. So I built this wall to follow the shape of the field, because the field, the ground drops off really steeply here. So this wall was built by the farmers at some point, but it's really, really old by now. You see it's very cracked, mossy, overgrown. There's little bits missing. I figure this farm has been owned and added onto by multiple generations, so the most recent farmer has just taken to throwing up these wooden posts to try and reinforce the wall a bit so it won't fall over. I think that wall looks great, by the way. So here we have a well, a really small well, but it still looks awesome. The roof is different on this side than it is on this side for added detail. It's a little bit of moss there. These are nether brick fences. I really love them in this texture pack because they're not all red. And I used a hopper for the bucket instead of a cauldron so you could still see down into the water. And then the fence post is the closest we have to a rope. So here's the main house, but we're going to talk about that last. First we're going to go up to this windmill. And I like the windmill blade design. I think it looks really cute. It might not be the most effective, but it does look interesting. And you'll notice the red color there. I chose red as the accent color because there is red in this forest with these birch tree leaves, so it ties the house in with the landscape while adding a bit of extra color. So if we come in here under this covered walkway, we'll find the entrance to the granary. So here's the mill wheel that we'll use to grind this wheat into flour, and it would fall down into this hopper and get put into this chest. So if we look up, you'll notice the gear assembly that runs this. The gears are made with cobblestone and cobblestone wall. They would have used, I guess, stone gears. I think that was a thing, but if not, it just looks cool. That runs this mill wheel and makes it rotate. Now this room is an interesting discussion of lighting. You'll notice this room is completely lit with one torch. And the biggest mistake that I see people make in Minecraft is that they overlight their buildings. And it's just a real shame, because you have to make sure that your lighting accentuates your build. And if the entire thing is the same light level, it just gets looking boring. So you'll notice this torch completely lights the front of this room, which is good because we're working here. But the back of this room is all storage. And because it's shadowy, it adds extra depth to the room. Now, this is at 50% brightness. At Moody, it looks a lot more. The difference is a lot higher, bigger. But I had to turn the brightness up so you could still see it on YouTube. So if we head through this really cramped room, there's crates everywhere. There are some chests storing wheat. And you could use this as a storage room if you just bashed out some of these crates and put in some more chests. So that's it for that room. If we head to the back, this is the vegetable garden. I started out, I wanted a small vegetable garden, but it's gotten kind of big. I'm pretty sure this would grow more than enough food for 4 or 5. I don't know how many players you could subsist off of just these vegetables on hardcore. So it got a bit big, but still, vegetable garden. I figure that the farmer probably uses most, if not all, of the wheat for flour and then sells it all off to a bakery or something, and probably eats these carrots and potatoes a lot. So if we come around to the front again, here we're going to go into the main farmhouse. Now you'll notice this farmhouse, the parts of it look very different. So, because the way I built this was I built this part first, then I added this on, then the covered walkway came third, and the granary and the windmill came last. And when you build like that, what you want to do is you want to decide on an architectural element that you're going to carry through all parts of your build. In this case, it's this column with the full block and an upside down stair. It shows up here, 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 all around the granary. And it pulls together the parts of the build, even though they all look very different from one another, and it makes it look a lot more cohesive. If I fly up here, you'll notice this roof. This is definitely the most ornate roof on the build. It's got this window in it. The top part of this roof is stairs, whereas the bottom part of this roof is mostly slabs. And it's also got these little holes in here. Having these gaps is something that I got from Jamsy Boy Minecraft. He does that a lot, and it looks really neat. I don't know if you would actually want holes in your roof like that. If you were actually living in this house, you might get too cold. I don't know. A window here in this wall to break it up, and this planter box here to make this area look less like a flat wall against a flat wall. It eats up the space and makes this part look more dynamic. So now if we come inside, this is our little entryway. You'll notice that our farmer has tracked some dirt in here, but he doesn't really care. You got a chest for storing things, and then we come through this doorway, which is a cobblestone wall, to give it a more of an open look. So here we are in the main entry room, the main room of the house. We have our little crafting bench with our little built onto the wall with a little bench with a nice birch sapling on there. And we have our oak floors, but second floor we have it's spruce, and that breaks this up in different colors so that the floor isn't the same color as the ceiling. So we have our little pillar here, and the second floor is made out of slabs so that we can have stairs going all the way around to give this sort of molding effect. And you'll notice I piled it with crates as well to use up some space, and also to create some little corners I could put cobwebs in, because the cobwebs in this texture pack look like they're hanging from the ceiling, and it adds a lot of it adds some extra details. It's those little extra touches that are going to push your build over the edge from okay to really cool. So in here we have our fireplace, and this fireplace will not burn the house down. Fire spread has not been disabled. This is just a standard single player world, so this house won't burn down. Now to do that you have to lower the fire by a block, which might not look as cool, but it won't set the roof on fire, so I'll take it. And this fireplace is actually functional since these are furnaces, so you can cook things in your fireplace. Here we have a brewing stand for brewing up those potions, and a cauldron for storing some water. It's empty right now. I guess we've just been brewing some things, so it's empty. Now this blocks here are the bottom of pistons. So I've got upside down pistons here because this is quartz, nether quartz. And the bottom of the piston is the same as the nether quartz, but it has these little brown bits that tie it into the floor. So I think it makes that look more integral, and it makes it look more interesting. So that's it for that. You'll notice there's moss on this building because it's old. And we'll come upstairs. Now again, this building is lit through that fireplace and this torch. That's it. One torch and one fire is enough to light this whole house. And the reason I didn't add more is because it doesn't need it. Now again, brightness is turned up to 50% so you can really see it on the video. But this house, when set to moody, just looks amazing. The lighting, it's minimal. You want to use the least amount of lighting that you need to get the effect that you want to go for. So we have our nether brick fences so we can't fall off. And over here we have a bed, and there's even more crates here. And we've actually used the crates to make the bed into a more separate area. I don't know in medieval times if you would actually want to sleep in this bed so far away from the fire you might get froze out in the winter. But I just put it up here because it's a more private area than downstairs. These windows, I really like these windows because you'll notice that 2 trap doors and you can completely close them off, which I think is awesome. And the way you do that is that there are half slabs here. So this window is in the middle of 2 blocks, so you can have these 2 trap doors close the window off. Little added touches just to give more interactivity to your building. I wanted to make this a quick episode, and I think this has been pretty quick. So that's it for this building. you've seen everything. It's a small build, and with small builds, you need to do a couple of things. For one, you need to cram detail in wherever you can. So rather than using full blocks for these pillars, stairs. Make it look more interesting with the little gaps missing. Instead of a full block here, a cobblestone wall to add more dimension to the furnace. Just with this, using slabs and then being able to put this sort of a rim around it. And again, adding mossy cobblestone, and from the outside there are also chunks missing from this building, as well as cracked stone brick. And it all comes together to make even the smallest build can be interesting. You just need to use what you have and add detail everywhere. If you've noticed, this build uses a very limited palette of blocks. There's oak wood, spruce wood, cobblestone, and stone brick, along with the nether brick fences. That's pretty much the only materials that have been used in this build. But you can have that limited palette, and you can still have a very interesting looking build. So if you're having trouble making your builds look interesting, give yourself this challenge. Use a limited palette. Set aside the material types, because you'll notice I've used stairs and slabs and everything. Set aside the material types that you're going to use, and don't deviate. Only use those materials. And you'll find ways. You'll have to find ways to make those materials look interesting. And it can make you a builder. So, this has been the small medieval farm quick build. I've been SentinalH, signing out.